Hey everybody, how are we doing? My name's Steph from Undercoat Interiors. I'm actually early for once in my life. So I thought I would pop on here and say hi. Today I'm going to be giving this little piece of furniture a bit of a revamp. This is what I do for a living. I used to have a corporate career, but now I'm lucky enough to be an interior designer and furniture refinisher. I've got a few people saying hi Anne, hello, hi Laura. Yeah, so if you are watching on Facebook, give us a like, give us a wave. It's nice to see some of you putting some comments in. If you do have any questions as we go through, please do ask. If I do miss them coming up on the feed, because obviously I'm here on my own, I'm not going to mention the C word, but you know, we're all in lockdown, so yes, I'm here on my own, painting away. So if I do miss any questions, I will go back through the questions afterwards and go through and hopefully answer them all for you. If you are watching this on YouTube, because we're hopefully on YouTube as well, hopefully I've got the technology right. Yeah, so if you're watching on YouTube, do hit subscribe to our channel because we will be uploading lots more demos and videos there shortly. I've invested in some editing kits, so hopefully we will be doing a few more not live things, but videos so that we can help you do your projects at home while we're here with you as such. So anyway, I say this lovely old piece of furniture, bless it, it's evidently had a well-loved life, let's put it that way. Yeah, today we are going to refinish it. We might not get it waxed as well. I've whacked the heater on full blast in the hope that we can get the paint drying quick enough. But if not, what I will probably do, if it suits you guys, is pop back next week after it's dried, and then we can finish it, because what I want to do with it, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. So at the moment, as you can see, it's been painted grey. The top was grey as well. But it had lots of scratches and gouges in it. It's basically a old, it's probably sort of Victorian, I'm guessing, or Edwardian dressing table type thing. So originally it had a stand on the back with a mirror. The mirror has unfortunately seen better days, bless it, and is kind of beyond repair, to be honest. And not only that, if I'd done it up as a just as a dressing table, it would be quite limited on where you could use it, because it would basically be a bedroom piece and that would be it. However, by removing that, it's now a cute little piece of furniture which will suit pretty much any room, and also because it's got this space underneath, it means it still gives that feeling of space around it. Oh, hello Hannah. My friend Hannah's watching. So yeah, it will basically give a greater feeling of space in the room, because you've got still can see the carpet or flooring underneath, so it will give that better feeling of space. But yeah, so then it can go in any room. It can be used for lots and lots of different things. So yeah, it's basically become a more versatile piece. So as a little bit of prep, because obviously there's nothing worse than watching paint dry. So yeah, I have done a little bit of prep on it, just so that you guys aren't here for like 4 hours whilst I renovate it. So what I've done is obviously taken off the mounts that affix the mirror originally, and hello Carol, she's done new chalk paintings and watching for inspiration so you can get going. Oh, you'll be motoring on after this. So yeah, I've removed the supports from the back, and that's left 4 screw holes or bolt holes where things went through. So what I've done is I've filled those with some simple wood filler. I'm not fussy about wood filler, I use Wilko's Finest. Other obviously brands are available. So yeah, I've popped that in, and then what I've done, because the top was so gouged where someone had used it as basically a makeup table, I think, so it had lots of stains on it, it had gouges out of it where it had been scratched along the way. So if I could have painted straight over it, but what you'll find is the fact that obviously those gouges and things will still show through, because although the paint's great, it will pretty much cling to anything. It's not magic. So in order to make sure that the top is really, really nice, because again, obviously it's on a table at the moment, but when it's in its new home, it will be, obviously that's the bits that's most noticeable, so we want to make sure that that's spot on really. Around the edges, it's got a few sort of dinks and chips, but you know what, that's part of the character, so let's let's go with it. The chalk paint is fairly thick, so it will sort of cover a few of those. But obviously it's never going to be a perfect piece of furniture because it's been well loved. This is its second paint job so far. I'm about to give it its third. Also on it, it did have, which you can't see now because I've removed it, but it did have a load of white gloss, which someone had kind of evidently underneath this is gloss somewhere. So someone had slapped that all down the side. So all I've done is sand that back, and then I've again, where they were painted across the top, I've sanded all of that as well, and I've just sanded the bottom of the drawer to again make sure that they really run nice and smoothly and I can go in and out. Now unfortunately, because the person previously had painted over the handles, I could spend hours and hours painstakingly brushing it off, but to be honest, life's too short. I'll make them look pretty, and I've got some plans with that with some gilding wax. So they will come up sparkly, but they will be painted over again as well. So yeah, that's my bits of prep I've done really, is just to sand back a few of the bigger areas and like I say, sand the top. What I'm also going to do while I'm here and while I'm chatting to you guys is give it a bit of a clean, because this came from one of my customers who said she'd had it in the garage, I think it was. I don't know how long for, but I should imagine quite a while. Someone's asking you a question. Some rather old furniture later. Do I need to prep beforehand? Not really, is the answer. I'm doing the prep now, in effect. So follow along. So all I'm doing is cleaning off the gunk, if you like, and trying to get rid of any sort of dirty bits of whatever. If you know, if you've got a piece of thing you can see, you do need to clean furniture. If it's been out in the garage or it's been in the shed or you've bought it from a charity shop, you know, you probably want to give it a bit of a clean before you bring it into your home. But you know, if it's something that's been in the spare room for a couple of years and know its history, and then the dust that's on it is yours, then just paint away. It really is that easy. So I'm just, like I say, giving it a quick wipe over. So because it's not going to be perfect, and because it's got this layer of grey, what I'm going to do, that's a really probably bit there, is use the grey as a base colour. So I'm going to kind of cheat, if you like, and use this as one of the colours on my piece. Someone's asked, what are you using to clean it with in the bottle? Good question. In the bottle, you can see well, you probably can't because it's back to front, I'm guessing. It's TSP, so it's a fusion mineral paint product. And TSP is an organic cleaner. So yeah, that goes, just you dilute it down, hence it's in a spray bottle, and then spray it on. Someone else has asked, if I have an old table that's varnished, do I need to remove the varnish first before painting? No, not with Annie Sloan, you don't. You can literally just paint on. If you were using fusion mineral paint, then yes, you would. But no, with Annie Sloan chalk paint, you can literally paint straight on. Did you use an electric sander? Oh, yeah. yes. I did have, yeah, here it is. So, this is my little mouse sander, if you like. You can see where some of the paint is on it. So yeah, my mouse sander, which just has a bag on the back, but that's by the bin where I've emptied it. Yeah, these are an ingenious bit of kit. They're relatively cheap. I think they're about 20 or 30 quid to buy, and you can usually get them anywhere. Obviously at this time, who knows? But yeah, so Screwfix, someone like that, B&Q. But yeah, they're called a mouse sander, and you can get, obviously this is a Black & Decker, you can get Black & Decker pads that go with it, which are quite expensive. But if you go onto Screwfix, the sand pads are about a third of the price. They're brilliant, and you get them in lots of big packs. So if you're doing a bigger project, I'd say definitely invest in one of those. It saves a lot of elbow grease. Yeah, so going back to cleaning. Yeah, so basically you're going to give it a quick clean, which may seem a little bizarre if you've not painted furniture before. First thing I'm going to do is turn it upside down. There's a couple of reasons for this. I hope I'm feeling strong now. Sorry, I talk terribly rude having my back to you. Really awkward legs to sand and use electric paint remover. Underneath the gloss is a red oxide looking paint. I can't read the rest of your comment, Carol, sorry. I will answer that later. Electric paint remover. I've never heard of one of those. Maybe I'm missing something. Anyway. So, again, getting rid of a few extra cobwebs here. So you can see where this has been previously painted. It's got a bit of a blobby effect, let's say. So there's a few bits that have been missed here, which is quite easy to do if you're painting it the right way up. But this is why most of my pieces of furniture start upside down. Now this little piece has actually got wooden casters, which are a beautiful original feature, which I'm keen to keep. Unfortunately, I have got a little bit of the grey paint over them, so I will just give them a little bit of a sand. And this is where I won't use, because obviously it's on a house's heat paint remover. Wow, yeah, like a paint gun. Yeah, so I'm always hesitant to use one simply for the fact that, particularly with a piece, if it's this sort of age, you don't know what that paint's got in it. They often contained lead in the olden days. And the other thing to say is when you do use a sander, always use a face mask. I've got one somewhere, which I'm wearing now. Very on trend at the moment, obviously. Yeah, so just take off any, so like this grey just needs to go. I don't want to paint these with. So all you do, what I'm doing, I say, is getting rid of a few splodges and splatters that someone applied before, which will make it much sharper and neater finish at the end. That's a rough tidy up on those. I will do more of those later, but for now, we'll just crack on with the painting. Anyone else got any questions at all? I'm looking for my coffee that I've left somewhere. Oh, there we go. So the colour I'm going to use today is Sloan's Violet, which is one of the, I'd say it's one of the most underrated colours that Sloan does, I think. It's a beautiful, beautiful colour, and it really does. It's kind of slightly purple, slightly grey. It's just beautiful, basically. So this is a brand new tin, so I don't need to stir it. And literally I've just got a little bit on the end of my brush. I'm just going to start painting. So I'm making sure that the castle doesn't get painted again. And as you can see, it literally goes on and clings to pretty much any surface. Will you stain your wood casters or just leave them? I would probably just clear wax them, because they are quite sweet. I might stain them, you never know. Actually, I might do them in a grey or something. There's a bit of a toning. We will see. As you can see there, it's a really quick way You can get, when it's upside down, you can see all the way around the legs. You don't have to worry too much. Now what I don't want to do at this point, which is what I usually do, is paint the sides, because obviously I need to pick it up again in a minute. So we don't want to paint those just yet. But what I will do is just run that across and you'll be able to see. And I'm also painting in the reveal simply for the fact that these drawers are quite loose. When they slide in, they'll be kind of, you'll be able to see if I don't paint it, if you like. And there's nothing worse than seeing kind of half painted. To do a full coat, isn't it? Someone else asked a question. How many coats of paint would you usually need? Just 2, really. Unless you're going a completely and utterly different colour. So if I was going from like a dark mahogany wood to pure white, then I would probably do 2 to 3 coats. If it's pure white and it has a colour called pure, then you'll need to do either Paris grey or an old white as the first coat, and then pure white 2 coats over the top to get the translucency. That's just because it has less pigment than any other paint or any other colour, so therefore it doesn't covers it well. Someone out of interest, are you self-taught on furniture painting or have you done any courses? I've done a few. Originally I am self-taught, although I do have A-level art, and I did a foundation course in art. And then I was self-taught, and then I have been taught by Annie. So yeah, I've been tutored by Annie, and also I've worked with various other painters such as Jonathan Mark Mendez. If you haven't checked him out, have a look at his Instagram. He's a very lovely man, but he's also an incredibly talented artist. Yeah, so mixture I suppose really is the answer. Parma Violet. Someone said it's not quite that Parma. It's not. Yeah, it's a bit darker than Parma Violet. But it is very pretty. Someone else earlier asked a question about am I watering it down? No, it's literally, like I say, straight out of the tin. Annie Sloan chalk paint is water based, so therefore it does evaporate, if you like. So as it's, if it's an older tin and the lid never quite goes back on the same way, then it will, obviously the water will evaporate off and then it will get thicker. But all you do then is simply add a little water. It's very forgiving paint. Like I say, you can probably notice that I'm sort of painting every which way. And like here where we've got a little bit where the old paint's flaked off, I've just sanded over it just to make sure that it's you've got rid of all the loose bits of paint, if you like. There's just a drip there, let's not do that. So by going around all the legs this way up, or this way down, whichever way you put it, I suppose, we can, then when we turn it over, we'll have a different view and be able to see the bits that we've missed as such. So as you can see, it's really, really quick to use. Yeah, Annie originally designed this. She has 3 children, and they were all at school at the time. So kind of the idea was that she would be able to take them to school, get a piece of furniture, transform it, put it back together, and then go pick the kids up. So everything's been designed to be quick, easy, simple, you know, it's water-based, so you don't need any harsh chemicals to clean your brushes and things like that. It's all very, very simple to use. Looks like I missed the name to them. That's what I thought it was called. Lou, it's called Old Violet, the paint. So yeah, it is a lovely, lovely colour, like I say. Really soft, a soft purpley grey. I think it's probably the non-technical description of it. So I painted all my legs. And all I'm going to do, I think I'm going to just paint the base as well, because it's just got a few bits where the previous person had painted it grey or not. There's a few bits of the gloss on here as well. What I'm going to do is just kind of paint around the edge just to neaten it up. And then I can come back to that later and finish it off. But obviously I will need to pick it up shortly to turn it over, so I don't want to not be able to pick it up without being covered in paint. Anyone who's been on any of my workshops knows that I do generally end up covered in paint. I'm quite a messy painter. So, that will do for number one. What I'm also going to do, while it's this way up, is just paint under here. So again, you can see where it's going and see what's missing. So could you tell us about the type of paintbrush, please? Yes, of course. So the paintbrush I'm using is an Sloan bristle brush. And these are a brilliant bit of kit. They have bristles all the way through. You know, sometimes if you have a paintbrush, sometimes when they get wet, you can get a hole in the middle, and it sort of appears, where the bristles sort of part. That's because they've got a filler in the middle and the bristles don't go all the way through. Annie's don't do that because the bristles literally, you can probably see it's quite oval. They go all the way through it, and they're hog's hair, so it's split-ended. So all you need to do is dunk it in sort of a third of the way, and that will pick up a nice load of paint and enable you to do a full sweep, if you like, without having to go back in and dunk in the tin again. So you get a really nice, good bit of coverage without having to go backwards and forwards. They come in different sizes. So I'm using a small. It's the most versatile brush, and if you're only going to buy one brush, this is it. The medium is great if you're doing a larger project like a kitchen or a wardrobe or something like that. Or if you're a man, because your wrists are going to be a little bit stronger. Ladies, sometimes, particularly if you don't paint regularly, if you have a medium brush, I'm just going to find one, then somewhere we have an extra large one. I don't know where it's gone. Oh, there we go. So, small, medium, large. So small's most versatile. Medium's great if you're a boy or if you've got lots of painting to do, or if you're a regular painter and you've got stronger wrists, or if you've got strong wrists. Anyway, the large I only ever really use as a technique brush. So if I'm doing ombre or something like that, then I use one of those. If I'm doing dry brushing over a larger piece, that's the one I'll go for. But yeah, those two are your kind of go-to. And if you're only going to get one, it's the small. It's called number 8. It's like number 8, number 16, number 32. But anyway, if you look it up on our website, it's a small bristle brush. So I hope that helps. So I'm just going to do around this bit. Oh, and I'm doing around this side either. Chatting away, and I'm not actually paying any attention to what I'm doing. Which I'm sure my husband would say quite often. So that's that side done. So it literally clings to wood, metal, glass, plastic, leather, you name it, it pretty much clings to anything. And someone else asked a question. Which brush will you use with your glazing? Glazing? Do you mean lacquering? Or waxing? Not quite sure what you mean, Jan. If you can ask again, that would be great. Oh, there's a bit. So now's the time to obviously check your work before you turn it over. Make sure there's no drips, make sure you've got every little last bit. Including that bit there, obviously I left that on purpose. Oh, looking good. So, now's the time to feel strong again. I want to touch the bottom of it. We're over. You just said glass, so will it cover a smoky mirror? Yes, it will cover a smoky mirror. What do you want to cover it with, is the question. Do you want to just paint over it and do like a glass painting kind of effect, or why would you want to paint a mirror? I'm curious. So, all I'm going to do now is, like I say, just make sure I've got every surface covered. I do love this colour, it's glorious. And again, on this part, I tested the drawers before I took them out. And they're quite loose, so I know I can paint this without it getting stuck or the drawers becoming too tight in the space. Karen said, I think the old wallet would look amazing with some new pearlescent over the top. It would. I'm not going to do that on this piece. I think that would be sacrilege to a Victorian piece. But yes, actually on the handles it might look quite sweet. Yeah, it would work really nice. All the stronger colours that Annie does or produces work really nicely with the pearlescent. So that's virtually the front bit painted. And if you're struggling at all in these bits, you can always get one of the smaller brushes. Annie does a set of detail brushes which work really nicely. If you've actually managed to wash it up after last using it, like I haven't. But yeah, so it's always nice to have a little detail brush just to get into those tricky bits. Jan said, when this lockdown is over, we begin having girls over to be instructed by we with our own pieces of furniture. Yes! Yay! I'll see people again. It'll be amazing. Yeah, so we will be obviously running our workshops again. But yeah, we haven't done it. Well, we had a paint your own piece scheduled for next weekend, but obviously that isn't happening. So yes, we'll be having a paint your own piece afternoon where you literally come along, we provide the paint and the workshop. And you just bring a small piece of furniture. The only caveat is the fact that you must be able to carry it upstairs by yourself because our workshop's upstairs. Yeah, so yes, we will. And we'll be also running our techniques workshops where you can come and play as such. And we do work on boards so that you can play with different techniques and colours and textures, products. Yes, it'd be great to actually see some people again. It would be marvellous. But in the meantime, we have the technology to bring you, or bring me to you, I suppose. So on the sides, I should have said earlier really, the sides were slightly split. There's a little crack that had appeared. So all I did this morning was pop some wood filler in that and then gave it a little, well, I left it to dry and then gave it a little sand over with my infamous mouse sander. Has anyone else got any questions? You've got to be quiet. what I'm planning to do with this piece is once it's been fully painted, I'm going to do a little bit of distressing on it. Just so that, again, it's an old piece of furniture, it's got signs of a previous life and history and character, and it's got some really lovely qualities that I don't want to just hide. So I will be distressing it slightly, so you'll see some of that grey underneath, and like I say, giving it a bit of character back again. Another question, would you like to change the colour of 2 lampshades? Can one paint them with Annie Sloan? Yes, you can, Jan. All you need to do is obviously remove them from the lamps, and then you can make, depending on what they're made of, but yeah, you can paint fabric. Fabric paints up really nicely. In fact, you know, I do have tucked away in my furniture store, and I've been meaning to do it for a year or so. In fact, it might even be longer than that. I've got a little telephone table, which is, at the moment, quite hideous. It's a burgundy velour. It's a proper 80s repro type thing. So I've been planning to paint it, so maybe I might do that as the next video. Where can we buy the brushes? You can buy them on our website. Normally in our shop as well, but obviously the shop's shut at the moment. But our website is ladida-andover.com. Yeah, you can pop on there, and then myself or Stu will pack them up for you. Stu's my husband. So yeah, we're obviously it's just the 2 of us at the moment. The girls who work with us aren't in for obvious reasons. Yeah, so we will, Stu or myself will pack it up for you and get it in the post. Postage is £5.95 for mainland UK, and that basically is whether you buy 1 brush or 2 tins and 6 brushes, whatever, it's £5.95 postage. And at the moment it's going by parcel force, so there's some of them are sort of next day and some of them are sort of 2 to 3 days. How hard wearing is Annie Sloan? I would like to paint my old kitchen table. I have a 7-month-old puppy. Lovely. Sandra, it is reasonably hard wearing, but obviously it's not chew proof. But you'd be pleased to know it is certified toy safe. So if puppy does chew it, or chew the legs, then you can just touch it up quickly and it'll be fine. So what I would recommend is paint it, wax it, and try and leave it, if you can, sort of a couple of weeks before puppy can get near it, so that the wax or the lacquer has time to cure and harden off before. Kelly says, highly recommended purchases, mine came the next day. Amazing, thank you, Kelly. We are trying really, really hard, because I know that at the moment lots of people want to get on with the projects, because you know they've been probably thinking about them for a while but never actually kind of had the time to do them, and now they've got the time. It's like, oh my god, I need to get on with it now. So yes, we're we're posting paint as fast as we can out to you. We had a massive delivery on Friday, so if you did try and order in the week and the colour that you wanted wasn't in or anything, it's most likely back in stock now. I'm just going to disappear around the back here for a minute. Now obviously, if I was doing this normally and not with a camera, I would take this off the table and paint the top so I could actually see properly what I'm doing. But for now, we'll just have to go with the power of feel, and this is only the first coat anyway, so it'll be fine. So after I've finished this bit, I will do the drawers and show you a couple of tips on how to tape up drawers, etc., to make them look really super smart and make it really easy to do. And times like this, I do wish I was a couple of inches taller. Would be nice. nice. There we go. So that's basically the first bit done. And drying off. Has anyone got any questions? I love Sloan paint because it's completely idiot proof, you don't have to faff around. You're too right. Linda says, I want to paint a wooden door panel white. Can I get a really white paint and would you finish with lacquer? Yes, you can and I would. So if I was painting something pure white, I've got a tin of it here somewhere. I did sort of cover this a few minutes ago, but pure white, if I can get the lid off. So pure white, as you can see, is the whitest of whites. It's the closest to a brilliant white. This has less pigment than any other Sloan paint. So you can just paint this on, but you're probably doing 4 coats to get it white, the whitest white possible. What you can do is cheat slightly and use something like Paris Grey, which I'll show you, which is hopefully not going to run all over the floor. So that's Paris Grey. So I would, if I was painting a piece of white furniture, in fact I've written a blog on it. If you go to my website, there is a blog on there called How to Paint Your Furniture Perfectly White. But yeah, so I would basically do a couple of coats of that, and then, or just 1 coat of that actually, just one is fine, and then I would do 2 coats of pure to get it really lovely and bright white. Hope that helps. Now let's ask you a question. Wishing got some cheap brushes, but I haven't got a picture on brushes. So invested in the Sloan brushes. Yes, I think that's, let's see the rest of it. Have yet to use them. You will find it makes a massive difference, Caroline. People often, when they come in the shop and ask for my advice, just think I'm trying to flog my brush. But it's like, no, honestly, it's going to make your life so much easier. It does make a difference. Is there an undercoat for fusion paint? Sorry, no, it's fine on it. Honestly, any question is fine. So, is there an undercoat for fusion paint? Do you mean you don't need to undercoat for fusion? Because you'll get the coverage is really good. But what I think you might be asking about is ultra grip. So if I was painting this piece of furniture in fusion, and I didn't want to sand it all back to wood, what I would do is give it a light scuff with some 120 grit paper, and then a coat of ultra grip, and then after the ultra grip I would then do my 2 coats of paint as normal. So with ultra grip, sorry, lots of messages coming in at once. With with fusion, you don't have to use a top coat, so you just go straight on with this and then the paint, and then that's it. Then you're done. The chalk paint, you don't need to do as much prep. You literally just paint it straight on, but then you need to do a top coat to seal it. So there's fors and against for both, and it depends on what look you want to go for and what colour you want and all sorts of things. But yeah, so what's the difference between AS and fusion? I'm in UB. It depends. Sloan's a chalk paint, and fusion is it's officially a mineral paint, but it's basically got an acrylic in it. So you have to do much more prep with fusion, and like I say, either sand it back to wood or scuff sand it and then ultra grip it and then paint, but then you don't need to do a top coat. Whereas with Sloan, you can just literally paint it straight on, and then you just need to seal it. So that's kind of the differences. With Sloan, you can be a little bit more creative, I would say, and you can use lots of different waxes and things to get different finishes and looks. Whereas with fusion, it's basically a really flat finish. So if that's the sort of look you're after, I am planning to do a couple more of these. So maybe I'll do a fusion one again, so you can kind of see the difference between the two. someone's said, where can I find a shade chart? We have colour charts for both Annie Sloan and Fusion. They're both actual painted colour samples on the cards, so there is a cost attached. But the Annie Sloan ones are £2 and the Fusion ones are £3. So yeah, all you need to do is just pop on the website, fill in your details, and then we'll get them in the post to you. Right, so drawers. Let's crack on with the drawers. You probably can't see me over here, can you? Let's just see if we can move this up a bit. Sorry about the noise. Just turn the camera. How's that for revelation? Oh, and you can see my secret project at the end. So, said drawers. Like I said, we for those of you who missed the start, these had gloss paint and then some of the grey paint across the side. So I've just sanded that off just to give a sharper finish. And then, yeah, just the end as well. So what I'm going to do now is, she says, we can work with it. I'm going to use some frog tape. I forgot what it was called then for a second. So yeah, frog tape. It's a little bit like masking tape, but far superior. So this stuff is a little bit more expensive than your standard masking tape, but it does a 10 times better job. So all I'm going to do is pop that round there, and then smooth it down with my finger. And that's going to give us a nice sharp crisp line, so that after we've finished painting, it's literally just done and gone, and then you can just peel it off and you've got a lovely finish. I've just noticed I've got a little drip on that. Let's not have that. Joe Malloy's watching. Hello, Joe. That's my cousin. I haven't seen you for ages. So, put that one on there like that. And then all you're going to do is literally paint it straight over. And it's a real shame that these, you see these beautiful handles. So beautiful handles. But unfortunately they've been painted over, so I can't take them off either. If I take them, you can't even see them on the inside. So they're painted over, all the screws and everything. So I've just kind of got to go with what we've got really on that one. And just get painting. So again, a little bit on brush, paint it straight on. And as you can see, the brush does make a real easy job of it. That side. And again with the brush, you can really stab it in to all the crevices to make sure you get every little last bit covered. Really just make quick work of it, and then don't forget to paint the end. And you see where it's kind of got a lump on the end there, just smooth that out because we don't want a lumpy bit which will catch the drawers. Flip the handle over again. Any other questions? Jan's saying they're beautiful, you're right. Where does one purchase it from? Frog tape. I would say screw tricks, code base. I don't know, any good DIY store. At the moment I hate to say it, but probably Amazon would be a best bet. So to go along the front here, I just realised I've just painted over the lock mechanism, which is a shame because I just sanded the back of it. So I'll show you how to put right mistake. So when you've got things like the metal lock, which is a really lovely original feature, it really doesn't deserve to be painted over, that's it. And I've accidentally, in my haste to get going, have painted over it. So all I'm going to do now is take a baby wipe and wipe it off on that metal section, just to take it back. And you can see, I painted on that one. So there's the first one done. And then I'm just going to do exactly the same on the second. Any questions at all? Can't wait to purchase the tape, it sounds like a godsend. Yeah, the tape really is quite amazing. It's great in the fact that it doesn't bleed through. Sometimes with masking tape you'll find that you get little bits that kind of go underneath, whereas with frog tape you don't get that. Also, if you have painted over something and you want to sort of have a stripe or do a second coat or something like that, and you've got a bit that you want to protect, just pop the frog tape straight over, and then when you peel it off, it doesn't take the paint with it either. It's very, very clever stuff. So again, we're on to the end first. On the front here. Again, I didn't do the block, but that's fine. I've got my baby wipe there ready to wipe that off. This would have been a fairly grand piece of furniture. It's quite a solid old piece. We've got a maker's label on the back. And you know, it's lasted well over 100 years. I'm pretty damn sure it will last over another 100. When it goes to its new home, wherever that may be. Obviously this one will be going in the shop. And on the website eventually. So if you feel like you need a unique, hand-painted, fully finished piece of furniture, do please let me know. There we go. Lovely. So that's the first lot of paint done. And it's literally just a case of waiting for that to dry. And a bit of something like that. And like I say, once that's dried, we can then go on to coat 2. Has anyone else got any questions at all? Jan says, as I haven't yet finished a piece which is rather large, what gold paint would you recommend for painting the interior? Can't read the rest of it. Oh, trying to press the button. Interior of the cupboards and drawers. Gold paint, I would probably say the Fusion do a nice gold. I'll show you if I've got a pot here. So Fusion do a nice metallic range. So this one's vintage gold, you can probably see there. And then there's champagne, which is a sort of slightly paler version as well. Someone said, would you ever paint the sides of the drawers so they blend in more when they're open? You can, but what you often find is they get scratched and they often also make it quite difficult to run. And you know, if a piece of furniture, particularly if it's been sort of more engineered than handmade, it won't run very well. So I don't do it very often, to be honest. Someone else has asked about pot sizes. Yeah, we do 2 different pot sizes. So it comes in 120ml, what we call a project pot. And then there's also the 1 litre tin. So a 1 litre tin will be enough to cover 13 square metres, which if you're like me, probably doesn't mean a lot. So 13 square metres is basically 1 litre which is one of these, is enough to do a small dresser, and then or 2 beds, 2 sets of chest of drawers type thing, something like that. If you're using a small project pot, that's probably enough to do like a bedside table, something like that, or a chair, a thin chair. Yeah. So it doesn't go off, so you can literally pop the lid on and leave it in the cupboard or whatever till your next paint addiction project happens. Yeah, any other questions at all? No, I'll wait for a minute while you're having a think, typing furiously. Yeah, so all I'm going to do now really is, oh, I just noticed a big old mark there, get rid of that. Is wait for this to dry off, and then I'm going to do coat 2. And then we'll finish it on another day. How easy is wax to apply? What type of brush would I need? The wax is very easy to apply, and you need a wax brush. Which is one of these, all of these. So the wax comes in 500ml tins. She's just looking for one. So your wax comes in a tin like this, and it comes in a few colours, but basically clear is what the majority of people want. And then you need a wax brush. You can apply it with a cloth, but with a cloth you'll use twice as much wax and it will take you twice as long. So yeah, one of these, I'd say that's your most versatile, that will do most pieces. That's if you've got like a kitchen or a wardrobe or something to do. So yeah, either one of those, just pop in the wax, rub it around in circles, and then take off the excess with a lint-free cloth or tea towel, something like that, pillowcase, that sort of thing is great. Marie has said, we've painted a cupboard with white undercoat then grey eggshell. What do we do to seal it so the paint doesn't come off? I wouldn't use eggshell. You can wax over eggshell, but yeah, it depends on what product it is, to be honest, and they're not my area of expertise. Are Annie Sloan brushes okay for Fusion paints? I personally wouldn't ever use a bristle brush with Fusion because you get too much, what's the word? Too much paint on with it because it basically takes too much. So with Fusion, I use a cling-on brush, and I will show you. So I'd use one of those, much thinner, you can see, and it's in synthetic bristle, so you get a nice smooth finish with it. Yeah, so I'd use a synthetic brush with Fusion because with the Annie Sloan brush you'll find you'll get far too much paint on. The Fusion mineral paint comes in 500ml pots, so it's like that. But that is an equivalent to a litre of Annie Sloan. So, Jan said, I found the wax easy to apply, but I really couldn't bring it up to a nice sheen. Should I use an electric buffer? What I would do is, after you've waxed it, leave it 24 or 48 hours, and then it's time to really exercise those arms. Yes, you could use an electric buffer if you wanted, but I think actually it's the curing time that you want, so leave it 24 or 48 hours and then really start to buff it up after that. You can use an electric buffer or lamb's wool head on a drill, but yeah, that's kind of a whole different league of, I suppose you've got, I think the project you're talking about, Jan, is quite a big sideboard, but yeah, you can use an electric buffer. Any other questions at all? I think. Can you paint leather or faux leather type material? Yes, you can. I've done shoes, bags, handbags, boots, all sorts. So it paints on really nicely. You want to seal it with the wax again to protect it, type thing. If I have had people ask, oh, I want to paint my sofa, which in theory you can. There's absolutely no reason why you can't. But if it's a squishy sofa, a big squishy leather sofa, it's probably going to crack eventually over time, because obviously leather stretches and moves and expands, or that sort of thing. So yeah, if something like a Chesterfield, then it'll be fine. So do 2 or 3 coats of wax. 2 coats of wax is all you need, pretty much. Best way to clean the wax brushes. Wax brushes is a bit of hot water, warm water, and a bit of very liquid type soap. Give it a wash, rinse through, and then leave it to dry, standing that way up, so the water comes out. Someone else is asking questions. What do you do to stop drawers sticking? Give them a little sand before you paint, is a good one. Often, if you paint the sides, they will stick, so that's why I generally don't paint the sides of drawers. Occasionally I'll put a stencil on or something like that, but in the majority I just leave them as they are, because obviously they're going in and out all the time, and if you painted the sides, it is going to wear eventually, just through the friction. If you're struggling with them in and out, and like with these ones, what I will do is when I wax the rest of the cabinet, I will also wax the sides of the drawers to again give it that what's the word? Lubrication, I suppose. Yeah, just to make sure they go in and out all right. What you do find sometimes, particularly if you're painting cupboard doors and things, is where obviously the paint is water-based, you'll find it swells the door very slightly. So you need to kind of give it a week or so before the doors will fit in properly again. Often because obviously we're painting in a rush, and if it's like a piece of furniture that's been out in the cold and then come in the warm, and then it will, being a natural breathable material, it will expand and contract type thing. Jan has said, what about candle wax? On the side of drawers, I wouldn't recommend candle wax. It's great if that's kind of what you've got to hand, but I would say Annie Sloan wax is far more designed to go over the furniture or on the side of drawers, if you like, for durability, whereas candle wax will just sit on the surface, it won't actually soak in. I hope that helps. Has anyone else got any questions at all? I've lost my water again. Right, so bang on an hour. How amazing. So what I will do is I will say goodbye in a minute, and I will therefore get this finished paint-wise, and then I will come back. How about next Saturday we do a date, same time, same place. So we'll do 3 o'clock next Saturday, and I will wax this piece, and we'll go through a little bit of dark waxing as well, so it will give that antiqued look to it. So yeah, Kelly says, can you paint furniture that isn't solid wood? Oh yes. Yeah, anything at all really. You can paint IKEA furniture, you can paint MDF, you can paint laminate, you can do all sorts. Thank you very much, Tess. Tess said lots of good tips. Many thanks. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Like I say, do please make sure you like our Facebook page. If you're watching on YouTube, then please do hit subscribe, and then you'll be notified every time that we upload a video, because some of our videos are really, really short. They're a couple of minutes of me just going, oh, this is a top tip to do blah, blah, blah. But yeah, otherwise, obviously, these ones are slightly longer because I have to actually do a little bit more with it again. So I hope you enjoyed it. Do keep in touch. Like I say, if you have any questions on colour or on how do I do this, or I'm stuck with that, please, please, please do just drop me a message on Facebook. It's probably the easiest way to get in touch with me, and I can help you out. We had one lady who messaged me after the last time we did some colour samples for her, and she's now painting her entire kitchen. It's very exciting. So yeah, just let me know, and if I can help, I will. I hope you've enjoyed it, and keep safe, and I will see you all soon. Take care. Bye bye.